Listen carefully, because this might be the most important reminder you'll ever hear. Every time you bend your own rules to please someone else, you chip away at your own power. And the truth is, people respect you more when you stand firm than when you surrender. Your rules are not negotiable. They are your boundaries, your standards, your identity. Break them once, and you'll teach the world that your voice doesn't matter. There are 6 truths you need to remember if you want to live a life of strength, respect, and freedom. Listen carefully. Every single rule you set for yourself carries weight. They're not random decisions, they're not suggestions, and they're definitely not optional. Your rules are the foundation of your worth. They are the blueprint of who you are and what you stand for. Without them, you're like a building without structure, waiting to collapse under pressure. The truth is, when you break your own rules, you tell the world that your voice, your values, your identity can be negotiated. And nothing is more dangerous than that. Think about it. The people you admire, the ones who inspire millions, didn't get there by blending into the background. They didn't rise by being agreeable or endlessly flexible. They had standards. They had a code. They drew a line and made it clear. This is who I am, this is what I stand for, and I will not move from it. That's why people followed them. That's why people respected them. Not because they bent, but because they didn't. If you look closely, you'll see it's never the people who compromise everything who build legacies. It's the ones who protect their principles with fire. Now let's talk about you. Every time you create a rule for yourself, whether it's about how you spend your time, how you allow people to treat you, or how you approach your goals, you're actually defining your worth. You're setting the standard for your own life. And the moment you allow someone to cross that line, the moment you break your rule just to make someone else comfortable, you teach yourself that your voice doesn't matter. That's how self-doubt begins. That's how you lose confidence, not because the world rejected you, but because you betrayed yourself first. And betrayal of self is the deepest kind. When you can't rely on yourself to hold the line, how can you expect anyone else to? People don't respect what you say, they respect what you enforce. If you say you value honesty but accept lies, your rules are meaningless. If you say you respect your time, but waste it for people who don't care, your rules are a joke. And if you say you deserve better, but keep accepting less, you're lying to yourself every single day. That's why your rules are sacred. They're not for others. They're for you, a promise to yourself that you won't settle. And here's the reality, life will test you. People will test you. Opportunities will tempt you. They'll come wrapped in sweet words, false promises, and shiny distractions. And you will be asked, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, to bend, to adjust, to compromise. And in that moment, the decision isn't really about them. It's about you. Are you willing to let go of your own blueprint, your own self-worth, just to keep someone else happy? Or will you stand tall, unshaken, and say, no, this is my rule, this is who I am. That moment defines your character more than anything else. So remember this, your rules are not chains that hold you back. They are the armor that protects you, the compass that guides you, the engine that drives you forward. They are the invisible force that tells the world how to treat you. And when you honor them, you rise. You gain respect. You attract people who value your strength instead of exploiting your weakness. That's why you must protect your rules like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Never forget your rules are your power. If you don't respect them, no one else will. And if you live by them with unshakable conviction, no force in this world can stop you. When you say yes to someone at the cost of your own values, you think you're keeping peace. You think you're being kind. You think you're being flexible. But the truth is harsher. You are abandoning yourself. Breaking your rules for others doesn't make you noble. It makes you fractured. It leaves pieces of you scattered in the hands of people who may not even notice the weight of what you've given up. And the cost isn't obvious at first. It shows up quietly, in the form of restlessness, unease, and a subtle voice in your head whispering that you should have stood your ground. That voice gets louder with time. At first, you dismiss it, telling yourself you were just being accommodating. But days later, when the moment has passed, you realize something deeper. You compromised not because you wanted to, but because you were afraid of losing approval, connection, or validation. That's the moment the regret begins. Because the truth is, approval gained at the cost of your values is never real approval. It's shallow, it's fragile, and it always comes with strings attached. People may applaud your flexibility, but inside, you're left clapping for an empty performance. Here's the painful part: the people you bend over backward for rarely remember your sacrifice. You stay up at night, replaying the moment you gave in, thinking about how you should have stood firm, but they move on as if nothing happened. That sacrifice that cost you your peace, your dignity, your rule, it's forgotten in their world. But not in yours. You carry it. You wear it like a hidden wound that no one else sees. And slowly, those wounds build up, layering into scars of self-betrayal. That's how you end up living in quiet resentment. Not at them, but at yourself. And let's be brutally honest. Every time you break a rule for someone else, you set a dangerous precedent. You teach them that your boundaries are flexible, that your voice is negotiable, that your no really means, convince me harder. People learn how far they can push you by watching how often you let yourself be pushed. So, every time you compromise against your will, you're lowering the value of your own word. You're showing the world that your integrity can be bought cheaply, with flattery, guilt, or pressure. And once people learn that lesson, they will use it again and again. What you must understand is that this constant bending doesn't just break rules, it breaks you. It shatters your confidence piece by piece, until one day you wake up not knowing what you actually stand for anymore. You've said yes so many times that you've forgotten how to say no. You've adjusted so often that you no longer recognize the shape of your own identity. That's the tragedy of breaking your rules. For others, you lose yourself in the process. And when you've lost yourself, no amount of approval, applause, or validation can fill the emptiness that remains. So hear this clearly. Your rules are not negotiable tokens to be traded for temporary acceptance. They are the essence of your identity. Guard them fiercely. Protect them like your life depends on it, because it does. The cost of breaking your rules is too high, and the return is too low. Approval fades, but regret lingers. And when you betray yourself, no one else pays the price but you. Never forget, every time you choose someone else over your values, you lose. But every time you honor your rules, even when it's hard, you win the only battle that truly matters. The battle with yourself. People will always test your limits. It's not because they are evil, it's because it's human nature. When people see a boundary, their instinct is to push, to prod, to see how much they can get away with. Some do it unconsciously, some do it deliberately. But make no mistake, your boundaries will always be tested. The real question is not whether people will push, but whether you will stand firm when they do. Because every time you fold, every time you let someone cross a line, you teach them that your lines are imaginary, that your rulers are just words without weight. Think about it. When a child throws a tantrum and gets what they want, what happens? They throw another tantrum. Why? Because it worked. The same applies to adults. If someone disrespects your time, manipulates your kindness, or challenges your standards, and you let it slide, they've just learned something dangerous. That you don't enforce your own rules. And once they know that, the pushing doesn't stop. It escalates. What starts as a small favor turns into constant demands. What begins as one lie turns into a cycle of dishonesty. What looks like a minor compromise grows into a lifestyle of being taken advantage of. But here's the beauty of standing firm. When you say no without guilt, when you enforce your rules consistently, you send a message louder than words. You are not here to be tested. You are here to be respected. People pay attention to what you allow. They may not like your boundaries. They may complain. They may even walk away. But one thing is guaranteed. They will know where you stand. And knowing where you stand creates certainty. It creates respect. It creates a world where you are not constantly drained by battles you never wanted to fight. Now let's address the uncomfortable truth. Most people who constantly test you are not trying to build you. They're trying to benefit from you. They want your time, your energy, your effort, but not necessarily your well-being. And that's why rules are not just suggestions. They are shields. They protect you from those who only see what they can take, not what they can give. By holding your ground, you filter out the people who see your worth from the ones who only see your usefulness. And trust me, the ones who stay when you enforce your rules are the ones worth keeping. This is not about being rigid or harsh. It's about self-respect. Because respect isn't handed out, it's earned. And the way you earn it is by showing the world that you are serious about how you expect to be treated. Think of it this way, every no you deliver without hesitation, every rule you hold without apology, every time you stand tall against pressure, you are carving out your place in the world. You are setting a standard. You are telling people, this is who I am, this is how I live, and this is the level I demand. That kind of clarity is magnetic. People may resist it at first, but deep down they admire it. And here's the most powerful part. When you stop letting people test your limits, your life gets lighter. You no longer live with the weight of constant compromise. You walk with confidence because you know you won't be moved by pressure. You build relationships rooted in respect, not convenience. And slowly, your circle shifts away from those who drain you and toward those who uplift you. That's the reward of holding your ground. That's the power of never letting people succeed in crossing your lines. Remember, these people will always test you, but whether they succeed is up to you. Draw your line, hold your ground, and never apologize for enforcing the rules that protect your peace, your worth, and your future. Your energy is your currency. It's the force that drives everything you do, your work, your relationships, your growth, your dreams. And your rules exist to protect that energy. Without them, your life becomes a free fall where everyone else decides how you spend your time, where your focus goes, and what drains you. The truth is, the world will always demand more from you than you can give. If you don't protect your energy with firm boundaries, you'll find yourself exhausted, scattered, and disconnected from the very life you're trying to build. Every time you break a rule to please someone else, you pay for it with energy. You give away your focus. You drain your mental strength. You stretch yourself thin, leaving nothing left for what truly matters. And the most dangerous part is that this doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens in 1,000 small compromises. You stay on calls longer than you should. You take on tasks you didn't want. You say yes when your body and mind are screaming no. Piece by piece, your energy leaks away. And before you know it, you're running on fumes. When your energy is scattered, so is your life. You can't build discipline when you're constantly drained. You can't pursue your goals with passion when every ounce of your strength is wasted on things that don't matter. You wake up tired, go through the day distracted, and end the night unfulfilled. That cycle is the cost of not protecting your rules. Because rules aren't restrictions, they're filters. They separate what deserves your energy from what doesn't. And without that filter, you end up pouring yourself into people, places, and problems that were never worth it. Protecting your energy means understanding one simple truth. Not everything deserves your yes. Not every opportunity deserves your time. Not every person deserves unlimited access to you. When you enforce your rules, you're not being cold. You're being wise. You're saying, my time matters. My dreams matter. My peace matters. And the people who truly respect you will understand. They won't ask you to break your rules, because they'll see that your strength is in how you protect your energy, not how recklessly you spend it. And here's the shift you need to embrace. The more you protect your energy, the stronger you become. You gain clarity. You gain focus. You gain the ability to put your full self into what actually matters. Suddenly, the goals that once felt distant become attainable because you're no longer wasting energy on distractions. Suddenly, your relationships become healthier because they're built on respect instead of resentment. Suddenly, you start to feel alive again because you're living by design, not by demand. That's the transformation that comes from guarding your rules like a fortress. So let me make this clear: your energy is sacred. Stop giving it away cheaply. Stop bending your rules to keep everyone else happy while you're left running on empty. You are not here to be drained. You are here to build, to grow, to rise. And the only way you can do that is by protecting your energy with unshakable conviction. Never forget, when you protect your rules, you protect your energy. And when you protect your energy, you protect your future. The people who truly value you will never ask you to break your rules. That statement may sound simple, but it's the ultimate test of whether someone respects you or simply uses you. Think about it. When someone pressures you to bend your standards, to lower your boundaries, or to compromise your values, they're not thinking about your growth or your well-being. They're thinking about their convenience. They want what benefits them, even if it comes at the cost of you betraying yourself. That is not respect. That is manipulation dressed as love, friendship, or loyalty. When someone values you, they don't see your rules as obstacles. They see them as proof of your strength. They recognize that your boundaries are what make you reliable, trustworthy, and whole. They admire that you stand for something, even when it's hard. And instead of asking you to break your rules, they honor them. They know your no is not rejection, it's clarity. They know your standards are not arrogance, they're self-respect. And because they value you, They never make you feel guilty for standing by them. This is where many people get trapped. They confuse pressure with care. They think that someone asking them to bend is a sign that they're needed or loved. But love doesn't demand sacrifice of your integrity. Real friendship doesn't guilt you into betraying yourself. True loyalty doesn't come with ultimatums. If someone truly values you, they'll encourage you to hold your rules tighter, not loosen them. They'll remind you of your worth when you forget it. They'll protect your boundaries as fiercely as they protect their own. That's the difference between people who drain you and people who build you. And here's the truth. You don't lose anything when you walk away from those who demand your compromise. You gain everything. Because the moment you stop giving your energy to people who don't respect your rules, you create space for those who do. And the quality of your life is not determined by how many people you please. It's determined by who you surround yourself with. When you stand firm, you filter out the ones who only wanted access to your weakness and make room for those who value your strength. This is why your rules act as a magnet. They don't just protect you. They attract the right people. People who share your values, who match your energy, who see your strength not as a threat, but as an inspiration. Those are the people who will never ask you to compromise your rules because they live by their own. And when strong people come together, they don't weaken each other. They rise together. That is the power of refusing to bend for the wrong ones and standing tall until the right ones arrive. So don't fear losing people when you enforce your rules. Fear losing yourself if you don't, because the ones who walk away when you honor your standards were never meant to stay. And the ones who stay when you hold your ground will be the foundation of the life you are meant to build. Never forget, anyone who asks you to break your rules doesn't truly value you. The ones who matter will never demand your compromise. They will celebrate your strength. At the end of the day, the only person you can't escape is yourself. The applause fades, the crowd goes home, the phone stops ringing. But you are left alone with your thoughts. And in that silence, there is only one question that matters. Did I honor myself today? If the answer is no, it doesn't matter who you pleased or who you impressed. You will feel the weight of regret. Breaking your rules for others may win you approval in the moment, but it steals from you the one thing you can never buy back: your peace with yourself. Regret is the shadow of compromise. It doesn't always scream at you right away. Sometimes it whispers slowly, creeping into your thoughts late at night, when you replay conversations, when you think about how you should have stood firmer, when you realize you betrayed your own word. That feeling is heavy. It lingers. And once it takes root, it doesn't let go easily. No validation, no praise, no temporary affection can silence the voice inside you that knows you broke your own rules. That's why regret is the heaviest burden you'll ever carry. Because it's not about what others did to you. It's about what you did to yourself. The people you bend for may never even realize the sacrifice you made. They won't lose sleep over the rule you broke for their comfort. But you will. You'll feel the sting of knowing you settled. You'll feel the pain of knowing you lowered your standards for someone who may not even be around tomorrow. And years from now, when you look back, it won't be the moments you stood tall that haunt you. It will be the moments you caved. The moments when fear, pressure, or loneliness convinced you to abandon your own strength. Those are the memories that leave scars. But integrity leaves no scars. Integrity is light. it frees you. Every time you honor your rules, even when it's difficult, even when it costs you something in the short term, you walk away with pride. You look yourself in the mirror and see strength staring back. You feel peace instead of regret, confidence instead of doubt, clarity instead of confusion. And that inner peace is priceless. Because at the end of the day, it's not the world's applause that helps you sleep at night. It's your own respect. Life will always give you choices: approval or authenticity, compromise or conviction, regret or integrity. And the world will tempt you to choose approval. But approval is temporary. It fades as quickly as it comes. Integrity, on the other hand, stays with you forever. It becomes your armor, your anchor, your unshakable core. Every time you honor your rules, you build a foundation that no rejection, no criticism, no betrayal can ever take away from you. That is real power. That is freedom. So let this truth settle into your heart. Breaking your rules for others will always end in regret, but honoring them will always end in pride. Approval is fragile, regret is heavy, but integrity is unshakable. The world doesn't need a version of you that bends. It needs the version of you that stands unbroken, untouchable, and unapologetic. Never forget, regret comes from betrayal of self, but pride comes from honoring your rules. Choose pride. Choose strength. Choose you.